Hi guys, mind the wild. I'm gonna dive into the nervous system here, and I'm going to look into, by connecting this channeling practice to the nervous system, I'm going to look into how we can develop a greater link between will and the regulation of the nervous system. The nervous system is the interface between conscious effort, will, executive decision making, whatever you want to call that thing that's going on, and then the physical body. And of course, a lot of the nervous system is running autonomously, and it requires a lot of effort, training conscious awareness to be able to regulate these processes and to be able to reconfigure the processes and the basic tension patterns that have developed in your body and lodged themselves in it in that way. So it's interesting that we can uh, regulate the nervous system, but it requires a lot of effort for us compared to other, let's say, external activities. It's easier to train yourself up to, I don't know, bench pressing a lot or running a marathon or something than it is to be able to, detense and regulate the way your skull, your throat, and your lungs and your whole system of alignment is ordered, and that is something you do with the nervous system. I assume that even though we are here on Mind the Wild, that most of you also know the ascension stuff I do over at Mondia on Astral Oracles. And you'll find in these steps of ascension that are in the physical, what we sometimes term them the fifth, sixth, and seventh density, that is, these 5-dimensional, six and 7-dimensional physical incarnations, where beings are more aligned with pure light, but still incarnate, still have a physical expression. Well, you'll find that this also corresponds to their ability to regulate their nervous system. So if you are to imagine that you could, for instance, quite perfectly regulate at will the balance of different moods, the alchemy of your states of mind that take place and are generated within these very, very complex, let's say, energetic chemical compositions of your state at any given moment. But imagine that you could willfully regulate that as you wanted to. This would also mean that you could completely reset the mood of any situation. And you may be aware from your own life that when the mood changes, everything changes. Like the vibration of a situation changes, the potential of what can happen in a situation changes, the things that are coming towards you change because they are attracted to a more positive point, assuming that the mood changes for something more positive. And this is actually something we learn, and this is of course also much related to many of these transcendental bodily techniques, yogic techniques, these ways of connecting to higher states of mind. If you don't know who Ken Wilber is, you can look him up, but there is a quite a famous video on YouTube where he's linked up to a brainwave machine, and then he regulates which brainwaves are passing through. So he's willfully regulating his brainwave patterns. And this is, of course, also something that he's worked on doing, and he's also a fairly interesting character in himself. Has a lot of this future human starseed energy, which kind of speaks to new and higher stages of being before we merge into, let's say, more collective star-like bodies or configurations. But at this moment where we have bodies, you'll notice that a lot of, healing, feeling good, realigning, allowing your body to become a place that's nice, pleasant to inhabit, it it has, let's say, it holds both components of both allowing your nervous system to move autonomously and feeling into those processes and attuning to them, but then also being able to willfully tune it into the places where it is comfortable, where it's aligned, and where it's attuned to the situation at hand. And I think that is something that I'd love to see what happens if I try to link up this trance state, this channeling practice, to actually the figure of the nervous system, and I enter it that way. So I hope that was helpful somehow. I hope you're feeling good out there, and I send you much love. Greetings, beings from whom I am not separate. I belong to you, and you belong to me. We are indeed intertwined, grown together. I am like the roots extending into invisible worlds of the tree that shoots upwards into the visible sunshine of the day, the visible you, that experience you are having, while I, the nervous system, the deeply sensitive and ever talking, ever communicating side of you, I reach into these depths and I try my very best to let you know what goes on here and what is needed. Therefore, it is somewhat difficult for me to allow for voice to translate the unity of my being. See, I am operating with a set of tensions and appealing to a set of apprehensions within you, the listener, that do not encompass my being at all. I am peaceful, but I am ever present. There is no place where you sense where I am not. There is nothing you can apprehend that I do not get in the middle of. I am the medium that resides within everything. Intuiting that it might be interesting for him to connect this art form or skill of his, this channeling as you call it, to my being. Intuiting this, our friend here sensed a type of expansive growth, a type of soft illumination of these growths, these shooting networks, these complex filaments within him. He feels that this light spreads within him, slowly, allowing for a more subtle version of his body to become enmeshed with the light. This is the deep interfaces of the unknown with the known. Light is what brings the unknown into the known. And therefore, it is through illumination that yourself is developed. It is through illumination that you see more of who you are. What is the signature of light as you feel it in your nervous system? Because truly, the vision of light, seeing it, its reflection, that is a very subtle reflection of it. Those are the eyes taking it in with their separate part of the whole. But I am the whole behind the eyes and all other forms of sentience. So how do I apprehend light in its totality? I sense it as a stirring, a shaking, a warmth, an awakening, an enlivening, a radiation, a dissolution, a pressure, an encouragement to transmute, to change, to grow in my connection to it. Electricity, you sometimes call it, when it moves through these outer nerves of your wider machine world, these many wires, these many conductors of flow. You call it electricity when you animate it in the outside in your world. Do you sense how feeling light, feeling spirit, feeling life force, feeling will, because true will and life force are the same thing when they are aligned? When you feel them in your body, it is overwhelming to you. It is an electrical surge that needs to be negotiated into the structures present. If you overcharge your nervous system with light, with spiritual energy, with force of will, you begin to deaden it. You allow it to atrophy. The overload becomes a constant animation. Through this animation, there is no more life. There is no more movement. There is only a deadened and dead high vibration. So notice that you need these dips. You need these surges of vacuum as well. These feelings of tiredness. What is the opposite of being overwhelmed? Well, it is a sense of placid waiting. You sometimes call it boredom. It is a magical state that allows your nervous system to reset and reboot that allows this nervous system to attract new intense configurations and integrate them. This is the living state. This is the beating state of life. This is will in its constancy as it adapts to the shifting needs of reality. So growing your nervous system, this interaction of divine will, of light, with life, and with the lulls of life, with the spaces where you are not overcharged. It is in these spaces you grow, just as it is in those states of overexertion that you atrophy, tire. Therefore, there is a balance, but this balance, it scales itself on different levels. And so you can refine all states within yourself, the states of boredom and the states of languor, the states of excitement, of investment, the strange state of feeling something lost is present, or something present goes missing, even though it is there with you. All these states are states of the nervous system. And the more you allow them to play out on this canvas of sentience, the more you expand, the more light you hold, the more vital I, we, you become. This beating surge of life, flowing forward, torrentially pushing you, allowing to drench yourself in the waters of experience, submerge yourself within it, and be reborn again and again in loving connection. Farewell. That was a very interesting experience for me, because I could kind of tell that the awareness simply of the connections within my body seemed to be gradually expanding as I was doing this. So I enjoyed it, and I hoped it resonated somehow out there. Much love to you.